Good afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers and I'm out in the greenhouse right now. Today I am pruning tomato plants. So this is something that we just started doing this year. Um, we're working on keeping it down to just the flowering or producing stems and enough leaves to support the plant as far as photosynthesis and all of those things go. I don't know if we'll be doing this with our field tomatoes. We are doing it with our greenhouse tomatoes because it's going to be warmer in here, because it can be more humid in here. It is more humid in here. And so we want to make sure we have good airflow around the plants to help prevent some of the diseases that we see when it gets really hot and humid. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through. Now let me turn it around and show you. Okay, so I started on these two plants, and you can see I'm going in and I'm clipping off the stems. So anything like this one that doesn't have a branch at the end, see how this one splits apart? I am clipping those off. Now I'm leaving that one just so that I have enough green on there to keep the plant alive and growing, and that one will come off later. But what I'm doing is I'm just going through. So this one, it branches off. You can see it dead ends with a leaf, so that one would come off. And then you can see, hopefully, right there in the kind of the crook of that, there's a tiny bud, and those buds branch back off and turn into new stalks with blooms and their own sets of leaves and all of those things. So I want to leave those alone. So for example here, try to juggle everything with one hand. This one dead ends with a leaf, but right here in this crook, it's already branched off. So the leaf would come off, and we'll let that top part go. I'll leave this one to help produce nutrients for the plant, but I'll trim some of the others down low because it takes two hands. I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like now and then show you in a few minutes what it looks like when I'm done. And we're specifically focusing on these two rows because of how closely they're planted. But once we get these staked, these will also need to be pruned as well. All right, so there's that first row of Sweet Millions. That one's done, and as you can see, that was quite a bit of extra plant, and you can see some of them were really quite large. They're wilting fast after I cut them off because it's hot in here, but they were pretty big on there, and that was basically just extra plant matter taking up water and nutrients that could be going to tomatoes. So the goal here is, one, like I said, to keep it from being as hot and humid in here and getting those diseases in between the leaves and not getting good airflow, but also to increase our fruit production by taking off these extra limbs. There's one I missed. You can see there's the new sprout coming out, and so this one can come off right there, and that's extra leaf matter that the plant is no longer trying to support, that it can now put towards this new growth, which will have blooms and eventually fruit on it. So still got to do the row of Cherokee Purple, and then I may get started on some of these over here. These are still needing to be staked up as well. Ta-da, there goes. All right, so we have more airflow now to prevent too much moisture. We have fewer leaves now to just use nutrients unnecessarily. And we can see the fruit better now, which is another big plus because that lets us pick easier, and that's always nice. Got a huge basket of clippings that we will take and compost. But there you go. That's kind of what it looks like now. I'm liking this for being able to get in and see what we have available on the vines. Now I know we have some people specifically looking for Cherokee Purple tomatoes. I'm happy to report that there are a lot of them in here, about that big. So not ready to pick yet. They've got a little bit of time, but they're here and they're growing, and that's a good sign. And those are all trimmed. They're blooming good. Because this is the high tunnel, we do have a little bit more control over things. so we can fertilize and irrigate and all of those things easier. And these are looking great. So I'm going to go add that to the compost pile and start trimming the next rows. Thank y'all for stopping by today. Hope you learned something about how we grow our tomatoes. Y'all be sure and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and come back when you can stay longer.